Hello everyone, and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. We have a 1v1 for you guys today, a grudge match over which Germany is best, as I'm taking West Germany here, and my opponent is taking East Germany. These are 1985 mechanized decks, both of us, so having a bit of fun with a theme deck game, not really the sort of meta stuff that you'll see everywhere. And for those of you guys who are a little bit eagle-eyed, you'll notice we're starting nearly 7 minutes in. That's in part because, well, we got the deployment set up, and then my cat, this time not getting into the cereal, did get into the closet, so I had to get her out of that. Roll-in 2s are going to be starting off this match, the MiG-21 ML kill, brutal stuff. I do lose a MD Jupiter, but the BGS actually do survive. And going back just a second at 7 minutes, if you guys enjoy this sort of content as much as my cat enjoys apparently cereal and closets and just being a general distraction, do hit that like, share, and subscribe. It does really help more than you might think, even just a like from people who are return viewers to the channel. So my offensive starting here in Echo is going to be a lot of special forces, and I actually changed my mind about this a little bit. So I had a double squad that's going to be securing the back end of Echo, and the single squad's going to not set down there. It's actually going to take off and move farther up. And then we have the stereotypical huge column here in Foxtrot, but Core and I have played a fair bit, and I usually don't get the better of him in the Fox Charlie infantry fighting. It's something I'm working on, but just preparing for that, I've tried to do this a little bit differently. So we're going to see a lot of militia. Heimat shoots in, and these guys are just there to waste my opponent's ammunition on anything like Sapri or stuff like that that might be pushing in to try to kill them with low ammunition, high damage sorts of weapons. KPZ T-72s, lots of them pushing through the center. Nothing I really want to deal with right then, and I'm just holding in here. I'm trying to hold in Fox and establish a lot of fire support on this side, so if he does push forward, maybe we can get things shot at. You can see not Sapri, but Sturmpaniera, which of course are the East German version with those AGI 3x40 launchers. And I mean, they do get a couple nice shots off against Panzergren, but the Heimat Schützen are sinking some of those, and we're getting some decent damage in return. Deckensgruppe do take out those tanks. Look at that, two tanks, and it looks like a transport vehicle there. I love these guys for those sorts of close engagements. I'd say they're a little bit map specific, but something like Wonsan Harbor, you are going to get usually some pretty good work out of them. So Mi-24D attack helicopter moving over, it does prompt me to get the Fallschirmjäger into this building here. My opponent has, of course, seen these transports and probably has guessed that I have some special forces, but look at this. Threading through my lines all the way down here, I'm having to respond with Martyr 1s and BGS, and the Sturmpaniera, I mean, this is what I was wanting, right? So my Heimat Schützen are damaged, but my Panzergren are still alive, and we are able to get those IMG-3s shooting in reasonably accurately, taking out some of the Sturmpaniera and making sure he doesn't get kills here for free. I mean, neither am I, but for right now that's fine. We've killed enough the T-72s, I felt kind of okay about this, and the Heimat Schützen surprisingly capable against just more T-72 spam on this side of the board. So of course, a little bit of a mid-range tank, and I hadn't necessarily expected the Heimat Schützen to be good against it, but you give them enough time to shoot, 14 AP power, 50% accuracy, surprisingly capable for a militia group against tanks. Fallschirmjäger have been offloaded. We have Spezial F Clutter here, moving into Echo, and that is going to be something that I'm going to respond to just right away with Fallschirmjäger. I want these guys in the woods. I don't want those recon infantry around the side. That could be exceedingly deadly if you can get them through and onto my side of the map. It's nothing I want to deal with. We also are going to be buying some Kurtz and just other sorts of recon vehicles, as well as a CB buy for Golf, because that +2, this is Conquest, and that does matter. So Sturmpaniera with one man left, Heimat Schützen pushing forward, just trying to see what there is to see, and the Strela is actually taking fire from Milan. So I think he'd intended to have a bit more of a forward hold there with the aggressive infantry push and the KPZs, but this was my mistake as well. So the Milan's not able to get the second shot, but Deckensgruppe getting in range that M2 and shooting in, and they'll do decently well against things like Spezial F Clutter. The PKM is not horrible, but these guys, they can shoot at infantry with those launchers, and that is very deadly. About 1 damage per shot here against infantry in a block. My Gepard takes an unwise reinforcing route, and that is then spotted and manually changed. I was trying to get him over into Echo. My mistake there, if you go too far forward into Echo, they'll take the straightaway on the right instead of going on the left and then up. Just depends on where exactly you're calling in the reinforcements for. A little bit wiser probably to call them in for here than manually redirect. My Fallschirmjäger did get the kills there on infantry, but taken out by a wonderful combination of attack helicopters from Core, and I'm starting to kind of worry here, right? The bow can be shot at from these guys. A bit of a slow reaction from me as well is going to lead to a dead recon helicopter, and I'm trying to get the Martyr 1s over, the Gepards over, and all of that. These guys won't be able to kill those helicopters necessarily, but the Gepard will, and I'm just trying to waste some of those Flato rockets and make sure that my Gepard is safe when he's there to shoot back. So we get more shots on these T-72s. I kind of wish that they hadn't been pushed forward that aggressively. I think that was a major detriment to Core's position on the ground, just because 40 points each, double stacks, triple stacks getting killed, you can't really afford that every day and twice on Sunday. Gepard shooting in, and those helicopters are starting to take a little bit of damage. Not quite able to get them both off the first burst, but I don't really quite know why. He might have been trying to get the Flatos online first, but these guys, 45 points, 55 points, very nice kills for a base Gepard, 45 points for that guy. And if I can get even 2 of them, let alone all 3, I'm a very happy man. We get all 3. Dekkinsgruppe and BGS are screening, and I mean, it's not a long-range screen. I would have been better off with the Milan team up there, but these guys do better against infantry, and a little bit of smoke in an infantry rush is very common to get a toehold into Echo. Not to mention, you can also just shuttle infantry down the buildings here if you have a forward cap, and right now he does. So his infantry could be this far forward, well, not quite here, but that far forward, and I might not see them, which means that this section is not safe. That's also why my Gepard's not really moving any farther forward. Don't want to really risk it. We do have some artillery coming in, but again, this is why I was trying out Heimat Schützen. I mean, shoot away. I really don't mind all that much if these guys get down to half strength. It's what they're there for. And yeah, I mean, it's a little bit for free with artillery, but at least it's not a Milan team getting killed by that. Dekkinsgruppe are destroyed, and they are now returning fire over here on the SFL 57-2s. I think the one that got destroyed was actually from artillery, so right as soon as I finish saying all that, of course I do lose it. And now we're trying something out. Kanonen Jagdpanzers. 20 points, 1925 meter range, 10 AP, 12 rounds a minute. They are not meant to go toe-to-toe with tanks in the open ground, but I thought they might do decently well in the constricted sorts of lines of sight that you have in Delta, especially with Spezial Aufklärer. I knew that they were here, they were there for a while back, and we do also have, we'll make sure to return these guys, Fallschirmjäger up into Bravo on the far side of the map. So these guys are edging around, trying to support against the Spezial Aufklärer while I do still have vision. Let's see what those guns can do. 2 shots, 2 points of damage, so I guess 2 individual kills there. And here comes the second volley, down to 2 Kanonen Jagdpanzers, all 4 of them shooting in, and we do kill those Spezial Aufklärer, I think, anyway. Interesting. It looked like there was one left for a second, because there was still some fire coming out. Sturmpioneere are shooting forward again, and another plane, another kill, as that double stack of Roland 2s just provides merciless fire in against anything coming to shoot my my units. So I did lose a Kanonen Jagdpanzer, but 20 points, it's why I brought them up, and decently long-range shots in against Spezial Aufklärer there as well, getting some damage. Answering T-72 is a problem, though. So now my Fallschirmjäger are going to be moving, building hopping over to the far side of Bravo, and then moving through the trees. We'll see that in just a second, as unfortunately my Panzergren and the remaining Heimatschützen are not quite enough to stop these Sturmpioneere. And I mean, that was just the initial scout. They're moving back. Motschützen now moving up, and of course the shock training on those guys is really tough to deal with. And M113 A1Gs, they'll get persistent damage, but not quickly enough. So I'm trying to do something so I'm not just responding. Kanonen Jagdpanzers moving up and potentially able to shoot at Spezial Aufklärer. If I can take out my enemy's eyes, that's very nice. Fallschirmjäger, spot the SPW 50PU here in the open. And this is really important. I didn't have anything to hit it with. I didn't want to advance against the open ground, because this guy, even with medium optics, would be able to spot him before I can shoot. So how do I get really to that? I don't have artillery out. I could buy artillery, but I don't know. It didn't seem like a guaranteed thing. I was also a little bit tight on points, so my response is, for right now, nothing. We mark it, we watch it. If Bravo remains capped, then it's still in the same spot, and the Fallschirmjäger can keep doing their thing and moving toward Alpha. In the meantime, Panzerjäger, this is why I was so tight on points. I did lose a couple of the Kanonen Jagdpanzers, and my infantry are basically gone here. Panzerjäger, of course, he's doing the same thing I did to him with Dekkinsgruppe, and actually, I think, so let's see, 18 AP power 2 HE versus, I think these guys have 17 AP power 2 HE, but the accuracy might be a little bit different. 70% on mine, and believe it or not, I can't actually see his stats there. Don't have the scouting to see that. And this push came right after I purchased the Leopard 1 for that zone, so I was really kind of upset about it. I lost both the Kanonen Jagdpanzers. I didn't think he'd move that far forward, and Fox has completely fallen. So Alpha Jet A is purchased, not the only one. We actually have a second one coming over this way. My hope was to go around the side and then attack in and napalm that section to just burn that command vehicle alive, and, well, time over target matters, guys. Time over target really does matter. Evac Bingo about 8 or 9 seconds before that would have been Evac Winchester, and that command vehicle is still alive. The other Alpha Jet's just trying to light up this side of Foxtrot to discourage moving through these zones, while my own reinforcements do come in. These guys were originally sent for Echo, but they have been redirected, and I really do need to get control back of Foxtrot. And yeah, I mean, endless Heimat Schützen have been sent to their deaths here, but if it works, it works. Now, though, we need to take a look at these Fallschirmjäger as they move through the woods. There's not that many places to hide a CV in Alpha. That's why a lot of people will do an infantry one right there. But we get the kill on this side. It was a command vehicle, and if you have a vehicle, it's basically going to be right here or right there. That's pretty much it. Some people do hide it in the woods up here. I've seen that before, but it is a little bit more rare. So we get the kill on Alpha, and that means Bravo's decapped. Have lost my opportunity there. If I had killed that one, and then we got in the kill on Alpha, that would have been game. We would have just edged out control of the map entirely, which would have been pretty nice. But we're forcing a buy here. My Fallschirmjäger are going to try to chase down where that new command vehicle is positioned. And in the meantime, that means my opponent's micro is not going to be as good here, and we might be able to get some things done. Jaguar 2 is pushing up. They have gotten some good kills, although not necessarily highlighted so far. The Tornado 1DS going in, shooting at just the expected position. I thought he'd go right here to right here. Turns out, not quite so much, so a little bit of a wasted bombing run there, and Alpha is capped. I did think maybe I was close because it was decapped when I did that. Alpha Jet A coming in, and I don't really know why he just didn't drop his bombs. Yeah, probably an error on my part. I've been having some problems with my keyboard, so I might have given the wrong order. But, yeah, it's a little unfortunate. He's actually going to fly into danger here that he wouldn't have had, but such is life. Heimatschützen and Motschützen with encountering each other in the woods in Echo. Easy for me to say, jeez. And I do have an unfortunate engagement here as well. I should have probably just left the Fallschirmjäger there. They can do really well against helicopters if they can shoot back, so long as they're not in the open, because that'll protect them a bit more from rocket pods. Tornado 1DS coming back in, bombing this time the buildings here, as I'm trying to get kills on the T-72s. Jaguar 2s do excellent work, and that's a kill. I don't usually love ATGM vehicles, but these guys, I mean, yeah, it's a 5-second rate of fire. They fire, then reload, fire, reload, and it's not great. But we do also spot just briefly the command vehicle from the Red 4 team and that side of Alpha, and this is what prompts me to move. It might have been an intentional bait, I believe it, but if I could get over here to that block, I don't really know why they're going out, but they do, and unfortunately they get killed before I can get to this block and potentially get their secondary weapon online. Panzerfaust 44, of course, wonderful AP. Tornado Bomber coming in, trying to fend off infantry there, but I do, again, miss the bombing run, so I do think it's probably my keyboard, the fire in position button not quite working, but I'm not really sure. MiG-23 MLs from Core trying to answer, and I mean, we still have 1 point of strength left, but there it goes, and the CV was spotted right about here at those trees. Not enough to hide in, but there are still trees on the map. So the PH-1 helicopter should have probably been retreated at this point. We have used all 6 of those missiles, and I do have a FOB, so I could have resupplied, but no such luck, and the Alpha Jet A here is going to be hunting after that command vehicle. So let's speed things up just a bit, as there is a bit of posturing. Now, I should probably have been pressuring in, and if I hadn't have taken such a beating in Fox, I would have been. But we're getting the bombers out now, trying to engage, and we do get one of the 23 MLs. I lose it in 1DS. Not necessarily the best trade there in Evac Bingo, as my bomber does come back. So, I don't know. I mean, I thought at the time I probably have more planes than he does because the Roland 2s have been really brutal, but these guys should have been turned on for that engagement. We would have done much better. I turned them off just because of the seed that did kill my Gepard over on this side. So, Heimatschützen against Motschützen, this is going to be very lopsided. Even with the buildings, it's not going to be enough to save those guys, and my Deckensgruppe not able to get their guns online is a little unfortunate. So you can see, this is why I didn't pressure in. I think that couple of plays might have salvaged this game a little bit for me. I'm taking out a +2 now, maybe a +3 if I can get Delta as well, and I just need to be able to resecure this, because right now, I mean, my Martyrs are taking fire, there's ATGM teams this far up, which I could have attacked from over on the left, just moving them down these woods, or not the woods, but those buildings. But I'm just so outnumbered here in the center, I couldn't quite do it. Heimatschützen and Panzergren going against Panzerjäger, and so long as they're shooting the Heimatschützen, we're okay. The Panzergrenadier will get kills, but Motschützen coming in to reinforce does complicate things, as my Panzergren now are taking the full brunt of that Motschützen fire, and you can see 18 men down to 11, and what could have been a really nice engagement for us maybe isn't. If these guys can move back, they'll actually save all 4, and they do that. That's the meta, ladies and gentlemen. You move forward, you evac back through the buildings just in time to resupply and rearm the entire group, which is something that I'm not very good at. Admittedly, not very good at. So I'm working on it. We'll get there eventually. Well, we'll see. Delta is capped by core, and I don't know. I felt a little bit vulnerable here. Panzergren are the only ones left, and outnumbered by Motschützen is not something you want to be. M113, A1G is trying to move over to get those guns online from this side, but they have to be decently close, and I lose the zone just completely for the second time. So I have it capped, but my opponent has it controlled. Apologies for that noise. I'm not sure what the cat's playing with, but it's something. That's very much for certain. And now I'm just sitting there going, you know what? To hell with it. We're going to march through here with just the same numbers that he has and try to do something with it. So these are going to be more Deckungsgruppe, quad stack, and more standard infantry. Deckungsgruppe on this side just able to get the kill against Motschützen, and I was very proud of them for that. So here, my own M2 launchers going in, and turns out Sturmpioneere a lot better at this than Deckungsgruppe. So I lose 1, 2, 3 squads there, just sequential fire from the 3x40s. Of course, these guys are fragile weapons teams, so that's kind of to be expected. And if these guys can get back again, I mean, he can get in, get a kill on a quad stack of Deckungsgruppe, then potentially just evade me. But he does stay around just a little too long, and we do get almost all of them. And my Jaeger are going to be chasing a little bit. These Panzerjäger, just 5 men, clearly not enough time to reinforce, and that tells me, okay, let's crank up the pressure, because we're forcing him to respond already in ways that he doesn't want to, but he does retreat them just back, and my Jaeger, just being drunk in the center of the town, I have no idea why, finally clicking into the building on the other side and sparring with Motschützen. But we have the numbers, but he's calm, we're panicked. That's going to be a little bit less ideal than it necessarily could have been. So there are also vehicles threading through here. My Deckungsgruppe are not able to get the kills there, just I think line of sight blocked. He came from over that way. And I was trying to fend off things on the right. Another 21 ml shooting in, and the Roland 2s are turned on this time around. 1-2 punch, down he goes. Just brutal, brutal air support from the Roland 2s. I'm trying to move them, trying to cycle them to keep them out of danger. But my Leopard 1 actually does shoot in here, gets a couple kills, but that's a problem. Those guns are immediately turned off, and we're moving this thing to prevent any bombing runs from getting a success. 22 M4P comes in and shooting at my Roland. Let's take a look there. Does get 1 kill. We hit him. That's pretty nice. 5HE, and we actually get the second shot as well, so 1 Roland for a seed plane? Yeah, I'll take that. In the meantime, Fagot teams and my Jaeger are just out for vengeance, moving up, getting even the secondaries online a little bit, and yeah, we're outnumbered to hell and back, but if I can get kills on the Fagot teams, that's nice, and then we're moving back, keeping pace with Panzerjäger, and trying to keep them alive as, I mean, this is the difference between Jaeger and Motschützen. Regular training means that my guys perform way worse under pressure than the Motschützen, and so I have to be a bit more careful with them. But we got a couple kills, we sent a message, and then the other Jaeger, trying to stay alive all 4 groups, do some light sparring and then move back while I'm just cycling these guys up and back, trying to get kills on the enemy Panzerjäger, but I don't know, it's really slow. I was kind of expecting better. Again, panicked and shaken, not stirred, but still very, very damaged infantry. So I might have been expecting a little bit too much. And these guys, I mean, these are just 5-point transports, but it does add up, trust me, it really, really does. And the Fagot team, still 3 of them left here, do kill one of my heavy helicopters. I've also lost some of the Jaeger, and down go the rest of them as Sturmpioneere and more Panzerjäger push in. I was sitting there going, geez, that was supposed to be my revenge, not his, what the hell. So, Martyr 1's moving over, Sturmpioneere, their launchers can't do anything against these guys, and if I can get these guns online, we'd have a nice engagement. You can see that right here, 20, 19, 16, and bombs coming in as well. Tornado 1DS, also double stack of Alpha Jet A's, trying to use napalm to cut off the retreat there. So the bomb was in front, and then the napalm's sort of farther back, trying to make it atrocious for him to move through those zones. I don't know if atrocious is a word. Is atrocious a word? Could be a word. I think it's a word. It's good enough. My Fallschirmjäger also did take a little bit of fire, which kind of sucked, and I mean, this is my fault for fencing them through the open ground here, but I wasn't quite sure what to do with them. In the meantime, just 2 quad stacks of Jaeger basically taken out completely, and Heimatschützen are not a competent replacement for them. I mean, yeah, we might get a kill or 2 here and there. The Sturmpioneere are, I mean, their evac is blocked out by the napalm, and 80 Heimatschützen might be able to kill that remaining Sturmpioneere if I cross my fingers and believe hard enough, and we do get the kill. So, I mean, it is what it is. Militia, and I don't necessarily get along, and neither do the government payments to the victims' families here. But yeah, pretty high body count in this game, honestly. Some games are like, it's a lot of tanks, but very few bodies. No, this game had a high body count. Martyr 1's trying to provide that fire support again against Mochschützen, but I have to be careful with how far forward I move here, as they can shoot back and the Martyrs will suffer. But this is nice. Down to 13, down to 12. Every sort of volley here is probably going to get a kill or two. And yeah, I mean, this is a little close. I should be moving them back, because the next time I'll see them is when their launcher's on the way. Tornado 1DS coming in, and let's take a look at how those bombs do against Panzerjäger and Spezial auf Klotter, and yeah, I half-killed my own Heimatschützen. Oh, son of a bitch. Some things just don't work the way that you want them to. But my Martyrs are being resupplied. My Jaeger, down to 1 man, is being resupplied by a double stack of Mankat 1s. And the Heimatschützen, I mean, they're doing okay. We're down to just 2 Panzerjäger there, down to 3 men in the Fagot teams, which it annoyed me to no end I couldn't kill these guys. I really did need artillery. That would have made, I think, a pretty big difference. But helicopters coming in, and this is again just the 90 points off the Mi-8 TBs. Yeah, that's 180 points worth of helos right there, and they're shooting at 5-point transports. MiG-21 ML coming in, probably screening for planes as an answer. I kind of expected to see a seaplane up, but I'm not sure how many he had. I think the East German one, you can either take 2 down-vetted or 1 up-vetted. He might have taken the 1 up-vetted. I always take them down-vetted, but sometimes they miss their targets because of that. So, Fallschirmjäger, Deckensgruppe shooting in at the helicopters here. We get 1 kill, maybe even 2 as that IMG-3 goes off. Down to half strength, not quite able to do it, and the rocket pods are returning the fire pretty well. MiG-21 ML gets in, and my Roland down to a single man is having a harder time answering. Tornado 1DS shooting in as well, and I think the only reason we got him is because we were able to shoot not once, not twice, but 3 separate missiles of that guy. Tornado 1DS bomber coming in, I kill the rest of my own Heimatschützen, I swear. And then a Fliegerfaust team, actually 4 Fliegerfaust teams, does get another kill. These guys are pushing up, trying to take a defensive posture here, as my Fallschirmjäger finally move through on that side. And, I mean, this has been worth it so far. If these guys can get into the town, it'll screen off future attempts at this. And the Martyr 1s can take that rocket pod fire decently well. You might get a kill or 2, but it's mostly just going to be stunned and a tiny little bit of damage. My Fallschirmjäger are chasing, trying to get more kills on those 45-point helos. And, I mean, down to 1 strength, there's 1 kill. If we can get guns online for a bit longer. And more importantly, these guys have now paid for themselves decently well. 45-point kill off of the 30-point unit. 60 points for the whole thing, but they actually got 2, so that works pretty well. And we're at 317 conquest points to my opponent's 120, and now the numbers are starting to look okay. So my Fallschirmjäger moving back, they are being chased by lots of new Panzerjäger, but these guys are not that cheap, and if I hadn't thrown Martyrs into them, I mean, yeah, that was just a bad play. Everyone is entitled to an occasional bad play, it's just gonna happen. Quad stack of T-72 shooting in at Heimatschützen, I really don't care. Panzergren, and these are going to be more Deckensgruppe and the Martyr 1s. Of course, I didn't have access to War Crimes infantry myself. Alpha Jet A, Tornadoes, trying to come in and screen these guys out, block their retreat a little bit, and napalm directly on target. Maybe able to get kills, maybe not. But the Panzerjäger on this side were a huge problem. BGS not able to fight them, Fliegerfaust not able to fight them. I needed something to answer there that I didn't have, and just the number of times that happens playing against Core, it's every game, it's kind of fun. Forces you to think outside the box. Jaeger moving up, this is the group that was down to 1 man. Of course, people are made of oil and bullets, so he's up to 10 in that squad off of a single resupply truck. But Panzergren, Heimatschützen moving up now, getting into the sensitive bits on the back end of my opponent's sort of zone of control here. Single units of Panzerjäger, and to my detriment, they do get shots on the Jaeger in the open. We should get the kill there. More Panzerjäger dying to Deckensgruppe. Actually, no, we got taken out. Fair enough. The other thing, too, is these Spezial auf Klotter took forever to die. Heimatschützen shooting in just couldn't get the kill here. And my own Heimatschützen are being shoot through by Mochschützen on this side. This Iltis is spotted by the Mochschützen, but I didn't have any way of knowing at the time without looking at the replay, because he's in the open anyway, so he's never going to be giving me that flashing concealed notification. I should have probably noticed when they moved forward, but I didn't quite. It's okay. Shit happens. A couple of cleaner plays, and this would have been a cleaner game, but down goes my command vehicle, 0-0 again, but bombers coming in, Alpha Jet A is coming in, and that is enough to prompt the Deckensgruppe to move back, as Panzergren are able finally to stun and panic these Mochschützen, and maybe get some good kills, but nice retreat there from Core, and this is why I kind of hate Wanzen Harbor, honestly. I'm just so bad at the infantry grind, it's kind of impressive. But Panzergren are going to be getting potentially some nice kills. Panzerfaust 44, 16 AP power. I mean, 11 frontal armor, they might be able to eat a couple shots. But we have lasers in the air. Didn't realize how many of these he had. I mean, they're 80 points, they're not exactly cheap. Dedicated Helo Hunters, secondary air superiority fighters. The Heimatschützen get wrecked by some T-72s, but Panzergren, able to get a couple kills there, are now going to be moving over. I've turned off their tertiary just to make sure, and look at that, 4 KPZ T-72s. Let's take a look. Come on, guys, get your shots in, get your shots in. Ooh, that was really stressful. Heimatschützen actually get a kill on one of them before these guys can even fire. Down one group. Oh, the Heimatschützen, really one man in the Heimatschützen group getting that many kills. Nope, that's the Panzergren. I only wish I'd had Panzergren 90, but again, it's an 85 mechanized theme deck, so honestly, I thought that would go a lot better than it did. Damn. I mean, shit happens, that's okay. Heimatschützen did pay for themselves, and I have no front line once again, but my opponent doesn't necessarily know that. He sees Panzergren this far forward, he sees his T-72s under pressure, Kanonen Jagdpanzers and Flakpanzers M42A1 moving forward, trying to get a nice ambush here, maybe even get some shots on Estrella. Estrella 10M, of course, gets killed, one shot, one kill off the Kanonen Jagdpanzers, and, I mean, if these guys aren't careful, Panzergren shooting at one direction, they face them, and the Kanonen Jagdpanzers might have a shot on side armor. If they were shooting at it, I think they were shooting at the Jodl. That's a little interesting. Flak Panzer's actually getting a kill, and the Panzergren finally finishing off that quad stack of tanks. Now we do have Martyrs threading through. I mean, quad stack Martyrs, it's not exactly subtle, but for 15 points, it's a decent autocannon, can definitely get some good work done. And more bombers coming forward, trying to maintain some control in Foxtrot. Heimatschützen unloaded to guard the KDOW, and a Leopard 1, this time with armor, coming up to recap Delta. Planes coming in, and this, I don't know, I think he was trying to direct fire, like gun run stuff, not entirely sure. The lasers getting into enemy territory, and my Roland 2 not able to get range, but we spot the enemy CV there, and Martyr 1s will take that out in no time at all, so down to 3 strength, down to 0, that is a kill. Charlie's decapped, Delta's countercapped, we're at a +2 ticking again, and that's going to be very close to the end of the game here, ladies and gentlemen, so we're just going to go a little bit fast forward as my units get through into Bravo and Alpha, and that's going to prompt a surrender from Core. All in all, interesting game, 2865 kills, 2305 losses, closer than it could have been had I done a couple of things differently, but overall a very fun game. And yeah, hats off to Core for some good sportsmanship on that as well. We did pick each other's decks and specializations, so he gave me West Germany 85 mech, and I gave him East Germany 85 mech, and that's how this fight over who's best Germany was born. Roland 2s, very nice cluster of kills there. Deckensgruppe did okay until they encountered serious resistance with the Storm Pioneera, but even then, some of them got some good kills. Martyr 1s did alright, Milan 2s did alright, and Jaguar 2s actually, that's 80 points worth of tank kills off a single unit, and the other Jaguar 2 got similar, I mean that's 45, that's fine. These are the guys who got through the back. Führung's UAZ kill off the Fallschirmjäger, and the Tornadoes did alright, we did get one of the MiGs, and a bunch of Panzerjäger, that's not too bad. Well, that's all we've got for you guys today. Thank you all for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.